Hello everyone, I'm Colin Canet. Today's video is sponsored by a company called Maksiwa. And if you've not heard the name before, they've been manufacturing woodworking machinery in Brazil for 30 years. They're very well known in South America, but recently they've decided to move their marketing operations northward. And they provided me with a couple of machines so I can show you some of what they make. But even more than that, I'm really excited about this because these machines fill a big void that there's been in the woodworking world, and I'm excited to show you, so stick around. Today, I'm going to be demonstrating the Edge Bander and the Edge Trimmer and how you can get some excellent results when using these machines. And in future episodes, I'm going to be using these machines to help me make some cabinetry. So you may want to take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss those upcoming episodes. As I said earlier, I'm excited to be able to be demonstrating these commercial machines because there's people that follow my channel that can see the potential in what these machines can do. And look, the truth is, not everybody can afford and not everybody wants solid oak shelving or solid oak cabinets in their laundry room, their storage room, or the children's room. And that's where these machines and somebody with some woodworking skills can really fill a niche in the marketplace. Now, when these machines arrive, in my case, they came in 3 boxes: the edger, the trimmer, and the workbench. And they come substantially ready to go. You have to install a couple of things that they take off in shipping, but they're pretty much ready to go. I think it took me about an hour to have both machines set up and ready to go. In fact, the edger even comes with glue in the glue pot. Let's start off by looking at the edger. It has 2 electrical components. First of all, it has a glue pot in the back, and it's a hot melt, so it needs to heat up to a temperature of 170 degrees. And when it does, there's a roller here that allows us to spread the glue onto our MDF or plywood. Here's the front control panel for the edger, and it's not nearly as complex as it looks. This is the main power switch to everything, so that turns on power to everything. This, of course, is an emergency stop. The green button turns on the electricity or the heater to the glue. So we've just turned that on, and you probably noticed that the temperature gauge came on as well. The red button, of course, turns the heating element to the glue pot off. There's a little toggle switch here, and when it won't work right now, it only works when the glue gets up to temperature. And if we look over here right now, the glue is 25 degrees. We need to wait for that glue to get up to 170 degrees. And that's when that toggle switch will work, and that's when we'll be able to use the drum to spread the glue. Now, it's going to take about 5 minutes or so for that to get up to temperature, but while we're waiting for the glue, let's go over and have a look at the edge trimmer because there's a couple of settings we want to make on that. I just want to take a moment to show you the back of the trimmer, and it comes with a trim router that you'll have to install, and that's pretty easy to do. But what I wanted to check here, there's a little cam right back here. There's a little bit of a wheel here that needs to be set, and I've just checked that because that's where you can see where the trim router butts up against. So that's all set, ready to go. And this is the front of the edge trimmer. What I'm going to do is take off this cowling for a moment, and it's just held on with magnets, and you can see the magnets there. What I want to do, first of all, I've just got a piece of small wood here that I'm going to be using just as a test piece or just as a setup piece. And the first thing I want to do is check to make sure that the router is going to be able to trim that. And you can see how that is moving up like that. Let me show you a close-up of that. And there you can see the roller bearing from that trim router. And as I move the wood forward, it just moves that right up, and that will trim that piece of wood just fine. Now, the second thing that I need to check is the block scraper back here, and this unit is on a spring, so I'm just going to release that, and you can see that it moves up and down. And I'm going to move my piece of test piece here, my scrap piece in here, and just put that in here. And this is actually on a bit of a spring, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of pressure on there and then retighten that. And what that's going to do is when we go along here, it's going to give a final scrape to the wood that we're putting through, the melamine that we're going to put through, and just gives a nice finish to the edge banding. Now I've taken a moment to plug in the router and my dust collector, but I also wanted to show you that the fence on the edge trimmer is also adjustable. So if you're using wider boards, you can adjust this so that it will hold those boards nice and even for you. Now the glue is almost up to temperature, and here's the back of the edge bander. I'm just going to take a minute now and thread my material through, and it goes through this little slot right here, and if you'll notice there's a little adjustment that you can make, and all you need to do is put your edge banding material in there, and you just put it on there so it just kind of drops, and you don't want it to stick. You just take a second to adjust it so that it doesn't flop around in there, and it just runs through smoothly. There we go. Okay, we're almost up to temperature, but I want to show you I can flick the switch now, and the glue dispenser now turns, and it's actually drawing. You can see it drawing the glue all the way up, and in a moment I'll be running my wood through, and it will pick up the glue here, and then it's going to pick up over here the edge banding material, and the glue will be dispensed on, and I'll just push it all the way through. And that's the process of it, and at the end of the cut, or the end of the process, I'll cut that these little tails off with the guillotine. Okay, our glue is all up to temperature. Let's go ahead and run our first edge. And there's that edge, and you can see how trim and sharp that is. That's perfect. That's all ready to go. Now, I know some of you are going to be interested in a little bit of the detail here. This is a plastic material that we use for edging melamine. It's an excellent product. This entire roll, for example, cost me $15. That's 1.5. It was on sale, but that's a price that I paid for it. At the same time, I also purchased this oak, and it's an actual wood. It's an oak veneer that's been trimmed and cut in a roll like this. Again, I don't know how many 100 feet there are here, but this cost me $45. And the nice thing with using these hot melt edgers is you can get any veneer that you want for any plywood that you're working with, whether it's oak or maple. There's all sorts of exotic woods, and you can get a veneer that will match pretty much anything that you want to work with. Now, the people who will benefit the most from having machines like these, they'll figure that out like I did when you see them in operation, because they will open up a whole new world of woodworking and business opportunities. That concludes my video today on looking at the Maksiwa Edge Bander and the trimmer. And of course, there's going to be an article on Woodwork Web, and I'll put links to the Maksiwa website down below and in the website, so you'll be able to check that out as well. And remember, if you haven't heard the name Maksiwa Woodworking Machinery, you're certainly going to hear more about it in the future. I'm Colin Canet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.